Hello everyone, I'm the okayest bassist, and this is the BASSics Volume 50. Where is that music coming from? Why is there music? I'm not playing it. Stop. Okay, that was scaring me. Hello, everyone. I'm the okayest bassist, and this is the BASSics Volume 51. I don't have my light on. This is just going great all the way around. This might be a Bully the Kid stream with all the technical difficulties. Anyway, so today, BASSics Volume 51. The BASSics is a live stream I do most weeks, and it is geared towards, on the whole, lessons, whether those are life lessons, like don't put yourself in financial straits just to get cool toys, or lessons like here's how to play a song, that are things I wish I'd known when I was first starting to play. Would have made things a little easier on me. We usually have special guests. This next guest for the show isn't very special for the show. He's special. He's very special. But for the show, my almost permanent counterpart, Chris Volpini.
Yeah. It's really stretching the definition of special.
I've been told I was special all through school, so
I don't know if it was a compliment.
I didn't say it was a compliment.
No.
I just said that I was special. So anyone who is watching it live, or anyone who watches this re-streamed when they watch the recording, I put a title something like beginner lies or beginner falsehoods or miscommunicate. I don't remember what I called it.
Beginner's
Something
myths
about
and something.
yeah, sure. I don't know. I can't see it. It's not on my screen anyway. So the thought process I had is the whole thing is geared towards lessons I wish I'd known. I thought tonight might be fun. I put together a nice lucky list of 13 topics of things that I heard or things I've heard others be told on things you have to do, can't do, whatever, when you're
I
new.
would hate that shit. Yeah.
So to throw like the first one out there, the one that I've heard a lot, you don't need music theory.
To what?
I will say
that's the thing is like to most of these, I'm going to say you don't need music theory to do what? I mean,
your answer is always both sides. So
yeah, I'm pretty down the middle on most things, but and it's very annoying for my wife, but it's that's
Whoa,
the
no.
thing is like that like anytime you say that you don't need some form of knowledge, you're lowering your ceiling. I think. Um, if you're cool with that, have at it. But if you're, what I don't like is when I hear someone say, I want to do this, I'm serious, and da 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 da, and I'll do whatever it takes, and then you say, well, do you know how to read music? And, no, it's like, well, you should learn how to do that. And I don't want to do that. And it's like, well, then you don't want to do this. Like you don't want to do whatever it takes. And I'm not saying that who is it Pino that doesn't know how to read music? I think it's Pino that doesn't. He doesn't know any theory. I don't think. I'm sure he knows like keys and stuff like that, but I think he's the one.
The old phrase was always Hendrix. Hendrix never knew theory. Like, okay, but
well, I mean, but that's the thing.
Is
number one is you ain't Hendrix, and number two, it's like it's not. Do you need it? There's plenty of evidence that says you don't need to know theory to make a career in music. Are you above it? No.
Well,
you're absolutely.
I think kind of to go with what you were saying, like you're putting a ceiling on yourself. I think the statement of you don't need theory, period. This is the statement. If the question is this true or false, then the statement is true. You don't need theory. Like, if you can play by ear, you never need to hear what a pentatonic is. You never need to know what a mode is, a scale. If you can hear what needs to be played and you can play with it, and you're never going to be able to describe it to someone else. But if your job is sit here and play something that sounds good with this, Okay, yeah, you don't need theory. However, that's like saying I am a luthier and I don't need power tools. Okay, this may be very true, but when you're using a hand powered screwdriver to drive every screw or whatever, you might really wish you had at least an auto screwdriver.
Oh,
You might
yeah,
wish you had a drill or a sander versus a plane and a piece of sandpaper and a hand holder, like paper holder.
yeah,
Like having a radial or a random orbital sander is going to be a little nicer. Like I think that's the thing with theory. Theory is it's not just a tool, it's an entire tool set. And it's also a thing for communication. Like, if I can, like you said, I'm sure someone who can't read music, they still understand what it means if someone says, oh, this is in the key of G.
yeah.
If someone says key of G to me, that tells me I can play a G anytime in this song and it's going to sound okay. That's what key of G means to me. That means it's probably a G, C, D, somewhere in those I'm going to be okay. Those three are probably safe. That's all that tells me in the whole. But knowing those things means that if I don't have any music and I'm just there trying to fill in the back, like I don't have a master sheet, I've never heard this song before, I can at least know, okay, it's one of these notes that probably is sounding good. And that's still theory. If I
Yeah.
didn't know any of that, then saying key of G, if I don't know any theory behind it, I'm going to be looking at this thing and going, there's nothing that says G on here.
I have
So,
I have played backline shows where like I wasn't expecting to play, and somebody handed me their bass, and they had the notes written on the
oh,
back of the neck. Which, I mean,
hey, that's a tool as well.
yeah, I mean, I yeah, the answer to do you need theory? Um, no. Uh, I guess if not, like it, so that would mean that it's not possible to do it or
Yep.
whatever without theory. So the answer is that that is true. Um, I
But why not?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is you're never harmed by learning things, like by increasing your knowledge base. It's not going to harm you. Like the one thing that always cracks me up is when they're like, "Oh, I don't want theory." What do they say? Like, I don't want theory to take away from my art or whatever. It's like it's not. Like it's going to enhance the art. Like, and a lot of times, like when I first started getting into theory, most of it was me just being able to put terms to what I was doing.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the communication. I was
exactly.
playing this.
Like so right now I take session work, and I'm not getting, it's not like I'm getting a ton of it, but if that's the first thing, like, well, you want me to do like a pentatonic run here or like whatever, it just makes that conversation easier when both people
Yep.
know what's going on. What makes it harder is, and I've run into this too, is when it's because I'm far from an expert when it comes to theory. I know, like, I can hold my own in a conversation. I know basic things. I know some little like tidbit things that are kind of maybe more on the obscure side, but I've played with people that they, like they're 100% theory guys, and it's impressive. The stuff, this shit they can rattle off is so impressive.
Oh, but saying
Um,
experts in a field are always that way.
yeah, and that's
I
the
know how
thing
to
is,
unclog a toilet most of the way, but if I start talking to a plumber, I'm
well,
going to be
it
way
was being
nowhere
around
near.
those guys that was like my primary motivator to be like, okay, I want to at least be able to hang, like, and
Yeah.
my soloing got better. Like it made everything better when I started learning stuff. Because that's the thing is, what theory gives you is it gives you some place to go when you run out of your own ideas. And soloing for me, it's not that I can't do it. It's just that so oftentimes I'm like, I don't know what I want to do here. Um, so I don't take a lot of solos for that, and I kind of have a thing about bass solos in music. I like the whole band has to adapt if I take a solo. So to me, it's kind of like, I don't know why. Like, let's just. I mean, but I have the, yeah. I had the benefit of playing in this gigantic band with 3 horn players, a lead guitar player, a keyboard player. It's like, let them do it. Like
Yeah, if
people are going to
everyone takes
respond
a
better.
solo, this show's taking an extra 20 minutes.
Yeah, like people are going to respond more to those anyway. Like let them do it. Now I will say to brag on myself, I did take a solo. Our last show. Well, it was supposed to be our last show for the year, but we've already booked more. Um, Last show of that tour, I guess, would be a more accurate description. Um, was that it was a really cool place near Antietam Battlefield. It was an old opera house that I think was built in 1910. But anyway, I did take a solo on one of our originals, and I did pretty good. I was pretty happy with it after we finished.
There you go.
Yeah.
So there's a different one that bassists don't need solos, but sometimes they do. So there's
I don't need it.
one.
I definitely don't need it, but that's the thing is like the way I view it is Aristotle's my boss. My boss is telling me to do. I'm at work when I'm on stage. That's why, like, people that know me personally, they're always like, "Oh, I've never seen you smile so much," and all that. It's like, dude, I'm at work. Like, you don't want to be me up there stone faced the whole time. Like, I'm at work.
Boy, those guys are having a great time, except the bass player.
Yeah, and you don't want that. I mean, again, the size of my band, I can get away with a lot. Like, because I'm pretty much in the back anyway. So I don't have to do a bunch. I just can't look bored.
That guy who's giving murder face to the audience.
Well, and like that's the other thing is I have a resting grumpy face or whatever. So I have to. That's a thing for me. I have to be cognizant. Like, hey, fix your fucking face. Like you look like you want to headbutt someone. You're having the time of your life, and you look horrible.
I'm having fun. I think he hates the singer. He keeps staring at him.
I do throw stuff at him sometimes, but
well, there you go.
Mostly the guitar player. I'm a menace. I like to throw stuff. I boo at people. Not just loud enough for us to hear it, but that's the thing is you can't let the crowd.
Grabs the lead singer's microphone.
No, nothing like that. No, like when after Aristotle does something and he starts and everybody cheers or whatever. Sometimes I'll just be in the back, just real quietly going boo, boo, Aristotle, boo. Just like I throw it.
Just enough to mess with.
I used to keep stuff in my rack. I have a drawer, and I used to keep stuff, just random things to throw at the guitar player and the keyboard player and whoever needs something
Not
thrown,
the drummer.
whoever needs something thrown at them that day. But again, I'm in a giant band. You can get away with stuff.
If you're the White Stripes with 2 people,
yeah, they're going to see you throw it.
More difficult.
Yeah, they're going to see it.
Okay, next one I had. This one's we've covered multiple times, so we'll either spend an hour on it or we'll spend 2 minutes on it. The one that a lot, it's kind of a 2-parter. You have to spend X dollars, or it has to be made in America, Japan, whatever, for it to be good. We all know that's crap.
Yeah,
yeah, we all do.
Absurd.
But
I will say
it's still a thing you hear. If it doesn't say Fender on the head,
there's no magic wand. There's no magic.
Sorry, not room.
There's no magic wand in Corona, California. I got news. Like, there's nothing wrong with Fender if you like Fender and that's your thing. But to act like
there's a reason they're still here.
No.
I love the meme that I see go across, and it'll have a Fender P bass, and it's like 1958 P bass, and then it shows like a house phone from 1958, and then it's like P bass, 1983 Motorola's original cell phone, 2004 P bass, the original iPhone, 2025 P bass, the iPhone 17. It's like, what have you noticed?
And it's actually more. The more you make it look old, the more popular it is too. It's wild.
Well, yeah, if you get a Fender that got scratched during shipping, it takes 20% off. But if you have one that someone dragged around the parking lot before it went in the box, it's worth like an extra $200-300 minimum.
Yeah, I have 2 bases that say Fender on the headstock, but only one of them is a Fender. I bought a Warmoth built used. I wanted a 50. Well, I like the 54 style P bass a lot, like enough that I want to have one around at all times. But but and Fender's making one right now, but no, I just don't think it's worth it. I think it's overpriced. I've looked at them a few times, and I did own one for a little bit that I ended up returning. Um, and it just
Diplo Pastor.
nothing wrong with them. They're just not worth what they're charging, in my opinion.
They're great on the used market when you get them for half price.
Well, that's about what they're worth to me. But anyway, I found this Warmoth build. The only thing is it's a jazz dimension neck. I like the baseball bat. I would have rathered that, but I got it for like $500. And the main thing I wanted to do is I love the Lindy Fralin 51 split coil P bass. You can get it with this 10% overwind, and because that pickup's really like it doesn't have near the output that a split coil has if it's vintage spec. So when you get the 10% overwind, it's comparable to like the split coil P bass. That was the only reason I really got it. But yeah, I mean, the other one, I have a 72 precision bass that needs a lot of work, but it's cool. But
That's the sentimental one, though, right?
it's not that. No, my I have an 82 GNL that was my uncle who passed away. That one I'm getting refurb too. But my uncle did a lot of smart stuff because it's been sitting under a bed in Florida for probably since the 80s. And I was the big I did have, I mean, unfortunately that's not going to be an option anymore, but I did have GNL on standby that I was going to have them do a full restoration, and I was going to be like, I don't care, like I'll dip into the house fund if it costs a lot of money, but I want this thing to work. Ended up, my uncle made sure he took the battery out before he put it in storage, and he took the strings off and adjusted the truss rod so that it would be fine without the tension. The neck is fine. We're doing I thought we were going to have to do a refret because it had definitely been leveled a lot over the year. He was a touring bass player too. So it was definitely leveled a lot, and there's not much left, but I took it to a luthier, and he said, I'm glad you're putting flats on this thing. He was like, I was able to get it there without doing a refret. He said, I definitely would not run rounds on this thing anymore. And I was like, well, I only have a couple instruments with rounds on it anyway. But, but no, I have a 72 precision bass that I got a while back, but it does need a refret, unfortunately. So, but it's already, like I put a pickup in it because the pickup's dead. I might get it rewound. I might not. One of the pots has been replaced. Like it's not all original or anything. So
that's the one you got from the raffle thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I know which one you're talking. I remember there was a story about
There
it.
is. It's not very interesting, but I was trying to support this this charity raffle thing, and I ended up getting the bass for $1,000, which 72 is not a super collectible year to begin with. It has special meaning to me because the very first bass I ever touched even was a 72 precision, and my friend's dad had an old Fender Electric 12, like a 68, I think, and a 72 precision bass in the basement. And my friend just strung up 6 strings on and just played it as a 6. I played the P bass because that was the only other thing down there. And eventually I got my own bass and blah, blah, blah. But I played that 72 for probably the first year that I was playing. I hated it. I thought it was like, I was like, this thing's generic. I want to get that cool Ibanez with the maple top that I saw.
This is what every bass looks like. It's boring.
Yeah, that's exactly how I thought.
Because again, Fender P bass against everything that's existed since whatever it was.
And now I'm switching to P style basses for all my live work because I'm taking a more of a
reason.
Well, I'm just taking more of a like manufacturer's approach. Like I just want things to be consistent. I'm done like dicking around with all these basses, and it's fun because I'm a nerd with it and I enjoy it. But now that the band is on this, you know, it's becoming more of a job than anything. I just want consistency. Um, so
Sure.
it's you know I'll dick around with weird stuff at home, but live work where I don't really have time if things aren't, you know, if I'm having trouble adjusting something, I just want predictability and consistency. So that's, you know, if I have precision style basses, then I won't really have to re EQ effects and things like, or regain stage, because like a jazz bass's output compared to a P bass is like is noticeably lower. So then it like, okay, now I got to fix this gain staging and all, you know, whatever. Whereas
Yeah.
I have a US Lakeland, um, that's 4464, and I have the Reverend Michelle, and that's what I'm using most of the time these days. Uh, they both have flats. They have different pickups, but they're output wise, they're pretty similar. So
The two things you just talked about touch on two different myths. So I guess we'll go with this one first. That vintage gear is better.
no,
Yeah, I don't think so either. Because
actually, I
it's just
try to
like the
avoid it with very few
yeah,
exceptions.
you'll have more problems if it's older because it's gotten more chance to wear out and get damage that you don't know about.
Well, I mean, they're not in our group thread, but you know, that custom Reverend I'm doing is based off of a vintage bass because I've never been able to find one, and they're neck through, so it's a deal breaker. I've never been able to find one that doesn't have a twist in the neck, so that's why I'm making my own out of a Reverend,
There you go.
because
And
it is
then
my favorite sound. It's of
tut
everything I've played, it's my favorite sounding bass. So I'm hoping that I can replicate it with this Reverend modification I'm doing.
touching also on the thing about the now granted I this one is a variable, but you have to have a professional to work on or modify your instrument. Now modifications obviously you've already touched on that
Yeah.
that's something you
I don't think
like
a
to do.
beginner is going to be modding much anyway, but
I
I
mean,
think that comes like,
I would say I was a beginner when I was doing like tuner changing out tuning machines
see,
or
that's something.
swapping a bridge. I mean, those are simple mods that you only have to know really how to use a screwdriver drill and you're okay, especially if you're just getting something that bolts right up, just a drop-in replacement.
Yeah, I mean, but you're also like, you grew up around tools and stuff, so I mean, you're right. I mean, it's kind of like if you don't know how, like God, everybody knows righty tighty, lefty loosey, so you could swap a bridge,
But
but
but it's not always righty tighty lefty
well, that's
loosey.
the 98% of the time. There are
I'm
reverse
just saying,
threads, but
if you have a torque wrench and it's not getting any looser, you might try the other direction just in case.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, they make reverse thread screws and stuff. So
Well, I mean, my bongo, I put the tuners on it, but the tuner set that I had was for a reverse headstock, so
mm,
all of mine are lefty tighty because they're upside down. But that's because I wasn't going to spend another $130 to get new tuners when I already had some.
that's why I had to put on the Michelle. I had to put these are actually DR flats.
Hmm,
It was because of the reverse headstock. It's the strings aren't long. My SITs weren't long enough.
gotcha. I guess that means they're not going to fit on this 37-inch scale.
No, they won't. I'm actually because they're very strong presence at the store, um, and you know I curated that, but it's I'm trying to talk to them about doing some Dingwall scale stuff, and I did. It ain't gonna happen. I'll tell you now. I did mention I was like, you know, like I got a friend who plays. I just said that you play Dingwalls because it's. I don't feel like answering much questions. So I was like, I got a friend who plays Dingwalls exclusively. and wants flats and cannot find flats. I said, if you made, yeah, you got one, that's good enough. Um,
I mean, this is a 3734. This one's a
yeah,
36 and
so
a half.
I
So,
just said, if you, he has literally reached out to every string company. I said, if you made flats in this gauge, it would be a very small market, but you would have it cornered. And
yep. There's only one company that makes them, and it's Labella. And
oh,
the only place you can buy them is on the website Fret Nation. I actually contacted Sweetwater earlier today and I was like, "Hey, here's the model number on the package. Like Fret Nation has the picture of
that
it, but
makes
it's like
total sense
7."
actually, because Labella does that. Um, they also have a deal with um, when you went to NAM. Did you guys have time to go to Amp Shop Bass Exchange up in Hollywood?
I don't remember. I was recording for Bully, so there was a lot of times that we were at a place and he was doing stuff and talking, and I was more focused on what like angle I was getting for
Well,
him as
this
opposed
wasn't at
to
the show. This was just a
oh,
music shop in LA.
oh no, no.
Okay, so they build their own basses.
Hmm.
So those music
If we
craft,
go this year, you can take
yeah,
us there.
Woodcraft guitars is them. They
Hmm.
make those really cool. I have one. It's just downstairs. Those Music Master and Bronco, not Bronco, Mustang basses.
Hmm.
But they make instruments, and they make these 27-inch 5 and 6 string basses, and they have a
Hmm.
deal like you can get flats for them, but it has to be from that store because they do a bulk. What it is a store. So Jason from Fret Nation will contact LaBelle and be like, how much for a gross of these strings, and so that's he pays up front for them, and so that's why you
Yeah,
have to get it from him because he's trying to recoup that
yeah.
investment.
And that's what I asked with Sweetwater. I was like, "Hey, so here's the model number," and they were like, "Well, we'll have to see if we can get them." They're like, "We sell Labella. We're a Labella dealer, but we have to see
Yeah,
if
but
we
there's
can get
dealer
it." And
exclusives too. Like,
yeah, and that's what they said they'd
Fender,
have to see.
Reverend does it. Guitar companies will do it. Fender will come out with like the Chicago Music Exchange Squire. It'll be usually it's just like a color option,
Yeah,
but like it does happen.
yeah.
Um, Companies
But
will
no,
go.
Best IT does some multi-scale.
They do on the rounds. They
No, it's,
don't.
I mean, if they do flats, what you
Yeah,
were talking to them about. I mean, and as
I
soon as
mean,
those, and I'm sure they won't, because I asked them at NAM. I was
yeah,
like, first of all, are you guys going to do tape wounds? And they were like,
no,
not a big enough. They were like, not a big enough market. And I was
yeah,
like, are you guys going to do multi-scale? Like, could you guys do multi-scale flats? And they were like, not a big enough market. I was
yeah.
like, well, I told them the same thing basically you did. I was like, I can tell you all it takes is a quick Google search Dingwall flat wound, and you'll find multiple places where people are looking
Well,
for it.
you know, I love SIT, and I like being with them, but I can't get them to do medium and short scale flats. So that's a
Which is a
much
much
higher
bigger
market.
market.
Yeah,
Yep.
much bigger market than Dingwall flats. So
Yeah.
it is. It's there. It's that's it.
Yeah.
God bless them, man. Like
So what you're saying is I just have to call them and ask that I need like 30 sets so I can put them on everything, and
I
then
don't think they would do it then. I floated that idea about the short scale flats, and they didn't go for it. But
my
if their
store will
company,
be the exclusive seller of short and medium scale flats.
yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like, do you really? Well, maybe you, but like for me, I mean, I try to keep flat, and I think that's part of their deal is like, well, people don't buy flats like a lot. Like you buy
Yeah.
them and you leave them on for 20 years, and it's like, well, cool, but it's there's still a market for it. Like,
But that's almost exactly what the guy who was in charge of the SIT booth said was we're not really looking at tape wounds because you sell a set of tape wounds and a person's not buying new strings for 5 or 10 years, but if you can sell them rounds, they're going to buy a few sets and they'll change them and they'll replace them. And because they want them to still sound bright, not
But see,
die.
that's like you trying to force your opinion on the market when the market is telling you, no, we want this. I don't know. I mean, it ain't my company, man. So I hope that they do in the future. If they do, I'll buy them.
We'll both multiply.
They're already making money off me, so that because I'm still going to go to them for rounds.
Whenever those flats show up, I want to put them on this close. That's what's going to happen. They're going on the close.
Well, you're getting a 4 and a 5 string set. So
well, I don't own a 4, so no, I do own a 4. I have a short scale 4-string Jackson.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll find I don't know. Maybe you'll find a low B somewhere. I thought you had.
I'll call up SIT.
Yeah, I thought you had like a Stingray or something.
I had the Ray 2, which Pastor Groove, who's in the chat.
Are you bringing the close to NAMM?
I can.
Because I'm playing the booth probably. So,
yeah,
I might
can bring it.
I can bring my build, but honestly, I don't think the truss rod's working.
I have my big Enki case. It fits 2, and then I have my Sire case that the F10 came in, so I'll have 3. The current hope is that Dot and our youngest will be able to come with me, so one of us will have.
The other thing is you might come with the bass, but you might not go home with it. We'll have some talks. We'll have some talks.
That's fine. My son his favorite color is rainbow, and he likes that my wall is, as he put it, kind of rainbow because it has red and then almost yellow and then one with some green and blue, and then the bongo goes here for purple and then pink. So he's appreciative.
The first thing I notice is that your slat wall matches your floor, and I appreciate that.
Oh well, there's that too. Those are exterior 1x6s. So they were the cheapest structural board I could attach to the studs to make sure I could space them where I wanted. But
yeah,
if the close goes away, let me see if I can get this to pull up. I had a little bit of swapsies set up, and of course it didn't bring it up. Image photo library, bring it up. That's on the way.
Oh, so yeah, that Spectre.
There'll still be a red one, so that'll be okay. That's the Dingwall scale Spectre. So
it's a nice thought.
I thought it was beautiful. That's one of the reasons.
Nice is that like a Wenge, however you say it, fingerboard?
It's a Wenge board, and then the back is, I don't know, it's neck through. And the person originally had, so it came with Fishman Fluence.
Gross.
But the person who had it changed out the pickups and the preamp to something with EMG to make it more Spectre-y. And then we were talking about the swap, and they said, well, I'm willing to do the trade, but I don't want to include the upgrades. And I was like, that's fine, because I like the way the Fishman Fluence sound in my Strandberg. So
you do?
I do. I like the way they sound.
Yeah,
I always keep it. I mean, I'm the passive guy, and those are anti-passive pickups because they have
everything about. I mean, you got to have.
But they have on that string. I haven't played anything else with Fluence, but on it, I use it on Voice 2, which is the vintage passive mode, and then I leave everything flat, and I really love the way it sounds.
The close I had the Fluence, and I hated it. Because I was always kind of indifferent. I was like, I never really sat with one for a while, so I was like, in the store they sound like EMGs or whatever to me, but I said, I never really sat with them, and then that one, I had that close bass for months, and I was like, man, there's just nothing. But then I played Close's stock electronics, sound phenomenal. Yeah, their stock pickups sound so much better to me than those Fluence pickups.
They're
not
they're very honest. Like
yeah.
they're
Sounds
not
great.
colored in any way to be brighter or darker or any of the words that really don't mean words.
Yeah.
Um,
But
hello. So to the next one,
yeah.
completely disconnected from what we've been talking about, you need a teacher. Followed by the next one, which is you don't need a teacher. I love how both of these are things that I've heard told to new players.
Well,
Like
I mean, this isn't
it's
even.
like the theory.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even really a bass player question. It's more of a cognition question. Like, how do you learn better? Some people learn better watching a YouTube video. Some people learn best by sitting in a room with somebody else. Um, I can tell you my theory on it is I think YouTube's a great supplement for in-person lessons. I do think that there's no substitute for like getting, because no matter what, there's always going to be some level of wanting the teacher to tell you you did a good job. So like you're
Feedback.
working for something because the guy on the YouTube video isn't responding to you, and so like
Yeah.
that back and forth I think is important in the learning process. Um, Otherwise, you're just like being told what to think in a way.
I
Um,
would say the biggest thing on having an instructor, one, you're getting, unlike a YouTube video, like you said, you're getting recognition.
yeah,
Hey, did you do your lesson last week? Okay, you did. Let me hear it. Okay, yeah, you've made a massive improvement. That's great. That feedback is good. Also, you instantly get feedback while you're practicing. If you make a mistake, you don't notice.
yeah,
So, if I'm sitting there and I'm trying to learn taps and I'm going, but I'm only hearing the music I'm playing with cranked, well, I'm not hearing if I'm making that mistake, but a teacher who's good is going to hear that mistake and be like, hey, hold on, hold on. Here's what you're doing wrong. And then you can make that improvement before you build a bad habit of a bad technique.
yeah.
I
I mean,
think when you're first learning, like, I can't call myself a beginner anymore. I want to, because I don't think that I'm beyond the beginner level. I don't think I ever really will be. But anyway, and this isn't actual,
yeah,
this isn't the
throw
typical
all the trash.
self-deprecation. This isn't the typical self-deprecation. This is me
Oh, this is a new
literally.
self-deprecation.
No, this is legitimate. Like, I honestly, like, I know people who play, not just like you and the people in the group, but I know people who play locally. And anytime I'm hearing them play, granted, I'm my biggest critic. I've
Yeah,
played things and gotten done playing and been like, oh God, I made like, oh, right at that bridge, I was supposed to hit a
yeah,
B and then slide to an E, and then I ended up going the other way and I hit a C, and oh my God, I'm awful. And then everyone else, and like at church, will come up to me like, you did such a good job today. And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't.
they're just being
But,
nice.
well, and they
They immediately they're like, all right, can we like turn his
replace
volume
him.
down or like
Can he not be up
like the
here?
offerings have been lower since he started playing. All right, that's
Probably.
the
But and that's the thing though, like in not in self-deprecation, in honesty, I look at the way I play and how I see myself as a player, and I'm like, okay, I literally feel I live to the channel name. Like, I'm okay. Like, I have no problem standing on a stage and playing because I don't think I'm bad. Like, I don't
I mean,
think that I'm awful. I know that I can stand there and I can play the root notes that are needed in almost all the cases with minimal mistakes to where I'm not a detriment to the band. But the thing about even just getting up on stage and playing, the guy who plays bass most of the time, or half the time now, if I'm doing, like today, we were playing a song, and to put it simply, there's a part where it just has a descending, and after we got done practicing, he goes, hey, you need to double those up.
I'll like
I'm,
swing it.
And that one simple thing is nothing I probably would have ever thought of, because it's an old hymn. We just do it that way to kind of liven it up.
Yeah, you
And
give it a little swing.
he was like, just do that. And I was like, oh, that's simple. Like, he's not a teacher, but he taught me that thing. I didn't understand that I needed to learn how to do walks until he said something about, hey, you gotta know. Like, when we're doing an exit song, or some of my friends call them the GTFO song, and we're wanting to add energy, it's not just, he's like, no, that's good, but you need to do a walk. And here I am having no idea what he means by that. And then he explains it to me, and then he goes, I don't know how to explain this. Go ask somebody who actually knows what they're doing. And then it was just so happened I think I had a BASSics, and Bully was on, and Bully was like, okay, here, I'm going to explain it to you. And then to get the
Yeah, you're just like,
which, oddly enough, the one he showed me is DuckTales.
yeah.
But and that's the thing.
He loves that. He loves playing that. He loves throwing that bass line out.
And that's the thing. Like, the in-person it's again, it's like the music theory. Do you have to have a person that you sit with that gives you instruction to learn?
And
No.
that was the other thing I was going to get to, is there's an economic barrier sometimes too. And if you can't afford it, then there's some really educational stuff out there on YouTube. Like, I found stuff, and I've been like, oh wow, I never, just like something that maybe I knew the idea, but I never thought about it this way. I find myself saying that a lot when I watch Phil Conrad's videos. He just got he has kind of like a different perspective sometimes than I do.
I've told this story before, but like, my best example in my own happening is from the base house at NAM.
Mm-hmm.
Bully had, I think, put away about half a bottle of alcohol by himself, and it was the only time while we were there with everyone.
But
but it was the only time while everyone was there that I was playing with anyone around. Like, there were a few times if everyone was in the other room, I'd sit down and play, because again, I take pride in being the worst player in the room, for the same reason I take pride if I'm the stupidest person or the most ignorant person in the room, because I have the most to learn, which means I have the greatest likelihood of improvement. But I don't remember what we were doing, and I sat down and I started to play, and I'd said something about slap and how like, I could barely muddle my way through Can't Stop, Won't Stop, and that was it. And Bully walks up and he goes, do it right now. So I started the and he takes his finger, and I'm playing like this, and he takes his finger, if I can stop the bass from falling, and just puts his finger on the back of my hand and pushes it about 4 inches closer to the string. Like, I'm going to adjust this slightly. So I'm doing, at the time, I was doing that, just flailing my hand everywhere. And Bully comes up and just stabs his finger into the back of my hand, moves it 4 inches closer to the strings, and just holds it. And Bully, being significantly stronger than I am, just stands there staring at me and goes, now do it. So I'm trying to fight his hand away, which I can't do while playing, and it forced my hand to stay within an inch or two of the strings while I was playing, not swinging my arm all the way around like I'm doing jumping jacks or a wacky inflatable arm waving tube man.
Yeah.
And that single piece of inebriated advice / force of nature improved a lot. Which, again, an in-person teacher who isn't slightly intoxicated could have just been like, hey, hold your hand closer. But again, I think personally, that's the best example I can give of, you don't need a teacher, but by golly, can one, in a critical moment at the very least, make a huge difference. Now, if you're very first starting, you've never held the instrument before, I don't know if I'd call someone a teacher, but having a simple guide or mentor who can be like, hey, you're not supposed to hold that thing upside down.
Yeah.
Hey, that's an electric bass. You don't play it like this. It's not an upright.
Well, the guy from the Stones did, didn't he?
Well, and he was in the Stones. He was
Yeah.
probably stoned, but you know. So I also wanted to point that out because I've heard both. I've heard the you don't need a teacher, and then I've heard the other side of it, which is usually the people who are getting paid to be teachers that are like, no, you need someone.
Yeah.
I think similar to, like I said a couple times, it's similar to the theory. You it's a tool. It's going to help you, but like you said, the economic barrier, like it's the thing that gets me on like Scott's bass lessons. Like it costs a lot to pay for like that whole course, but I'm sure the results are going to speak for themselves by the time you're done. If you, especially if you're coming into it brand new, and you can
Hmm.
have that systematic, because the number one thing I hear them talk about is like you go on YouTube, hey, I really want to learn this song, and then you learn maybe that song, but then you can't play other stuff because you only learned that song. And that was another one of these. That was a I accidentally segued into it. That you have to learn X before Y. You have to, oh, you got to know your scales before you would know how to, you got to walk before you can run. You got to know.
It,
I think
I think
it's,
it's a law. I think like taking that is taking a very like law of averages approach. Like that method probably works for like a healthy majority of people, but it's not like if that's not working, I would switch tactics. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, you know, I gotta force my way through this. I would maybe try some other learning methods. Um,
I mean,
but
I would go so far as to say that I think it's even less important than that. I don't even think like the
yeah,
healthy majority, because what I typically hear again is things like, "Oh, well you have to learn your scales before you try to start learning a song because you need to know
the only
why the
thing you have
song."
to learn first is how to tune. Really.
Well, I mean, if you watch like Bully tune one string and then tune them all to each other, but you might be out of key with the rest of everybody else, because he talked
Yeah.
about that on one. He goes, "You want to see some people get mad? Have a bass that's in tune with itself, but not with them." But
Yep.
I mean, I mean, I would
That's
say,
why I
yeah,
always just use a tuner.
you need to learn how to tune, and then I mean the only other thing, you need a basic understanding of the instrument. These are the strings, this is the neck, this is how you fret a note. But once you're outside of like prerequisites for knowledge of playing a thing, I would say like if there was a thing you have to learn on a bass, and I guess I hate to use the word you have to, but if there's something you have to do, you have to learn where the notes are on the fretboard, but you don't, because you could literally just be like, okay, what hit the key, and I know people who can do by ear, and they can just be like, okay, this is the note, and then they understand. Like again, if they have the not the need of theory as the communicative knowledge, but they can just naturally play by ear. I have a friend who can play violin by ear, but can't play if you give him even a master sheet. If you give, hey, this song's in G and it goes G, C to D, and he can't do that. He just has to hear the song and learn it by ear.
Yeah.
I'm the same way on the piano. Like you can give me sheet music and I'll eventually figure out that song. But
Yeah.
if you just tell me this is the song that you need to learn, as long as I can find that first note, I'll learn the rest of the song. It'll take a while, but I'll learn it, but I'll memorize it, and then I'll just play it from memory every time. I
That's
won't have to read it.
that's what I have to do on reading gigs because I can read, and this is a hiccup in my game that I need to address. I can read, but I can't. I'm not that guy that you can just. I can't
A
sight read.
sight player.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Um, it like I do have a good ear, so I might be able to sneak a few in there, but eventually you're gonna be like, he's on key, but that is not what's on that sheet. Uh,
Like I think it was Charles Bertu had an interview with Victor Wooten, and he asked about it, because of course they both Berkeley, and
Yeah.
and he asked the question. He was like, so would you say it's more important that someone, have the theory, that they be able to sight read, that they be able to play it by ear, that they know how to do sheet music tabs? And Victor Wooten was like, if I had to tell someone to do one thing to be a musician, like a professional musician, it would be that they could sight read, they could read sheet music. Because any instrument that you're given, once you have the knowledge of where those notes are, you can do it.
Yeah.
And he said, but I love tablature for the fact that it tells you where you're playing that note. It doesn't just say, oh, I'm playing a C sharp 4. It's, oh, I'm playing a C sharp 4 on the G string. Oh, that's how
He
this
gets
person who,
he fucking Wooten, man, gets me every time.
why?
I never put that together. It's like the whole like you're only ever a half step off thing. It's like he always has like this stuff that's so obvious, and it's like I just never thought of it.
Yeah,
Um,
and he was talking, and that's what he said. He's like, he said, sheet music tells you everything you need to know. But if you can also read tabs, you can see how they change the notes, because it tells you, oh, they're playing A on an open A string as opposed to A on the fifth fret of the E
yeah,
string.
I mean he's
Well,
right.
and he's like, but sheet music doesn't tell you that, but tablature does. So, and it was just a thing of like, again, that's another tool. Like, you
Yeah.
don't have to be able to read music, but if you can, it's a great tool to have.
And I actually I struggle more with tab than sheet music sight
Hmm.
reading, honestly, because I've
I
always I learned by notes from
oh
day one. So like when you try to do numbers instead of letters, there's something that doesn't fire right, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, and then I got to sit there and count like a goon, and like
See, my big thing is like, I don't, if I have to play something that isn't just a master sheet, like I love master sheets. I make them, all of them, for the church. So if they say, hey, we're going to learn this song and play it next week, I will take the song, I'll find the piano sheet music, and then I'll just put the lyrics and I'll put the chords where they need to be for the root note, and that's all I'm going to use. But I really like the way Ultimate Guitar has theirs set up, because it's time signature based tabs. Like, it'll have, is this a quarter? Is it an eighth? Is it a half, a whole note? Whatever. I really like that, because you're seeing the note and you're seeing that time. Now, granted, I don't play by counting. I've tried, like when our drummer's sitting there and he's like, we played a song today. I don't remember what song it is, but it was in 12/8. And he's in the back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, go. And I'm sitting here going, why are you counting at me? I just play the notes. And I can't. I can't keep the numbers in my head. I can't do the, oh, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I no. 1,
oh
2,
no,
3,
I
4,
don't do
1.
that. It's
I
more of a
the
feel thing
I
for me.
yeah, I can't do, like, I know plenty of musicians that when they're playing, they have that, especially if there's a rest. 1, 2, 3, boom, doom, doo, 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 boom. Yeah, no, I'm not. There's no numbers involved in my head, but, and maybe that's something that would also be a good tool. But
Yeah,
it's just,
I,
one of the
I'm all right with like
things
Nashville numbers. That for some reason
oh
Nashville numbers don't bother me.
I
Um,
can't. I was
because I'm
trying.
already there. Like I don't know. I don't know why, but Nashville numbers doesn't bother me at all. I'm
See,
fine
and
with that.
today, like, we were playing a song by Lauren Daigle today called "You Say," and all I could think was, this is a really weird shape chord progression. Because, and then I started thinking about it, and I always try to give myself whatever kind of thought, logic puzzles, whatever. I figure if I can think of something in a new way, it's just going to reinforce what I already knew. So I was sitting here thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, most songs, if it's, because it took me forever to correlate Nashville numbers were the number of note in sequence on a scale. That took me
Yeah,
way longer than I ever should have taken to figure that out. I just kept hearing people being like, this is a 7-1-3-4 song. I'm like,
that's
on
quite progressive.
which string am I playing the seventh, the first? I don't know. I'm just I don't know how they work.
But it does kind of make it easier because you'd be like, they'll say that and be like, okay, what key? And you pretty much know where you're
yeah,
at.
absolutely. The other guy who plays bass at my church, his dad played in Nashville on records. And he told me when I first started playing at the church, he goes, "You need to learn your numbers." And I was like, I got them. There's 1 through, I can count really high. I'm good. And he was like, "Your Nashville numbers." And I was like, I can say them in a southern 1, 2. Like, I don't understand what you're saying. And
Don't tread on
and he tried to explain it, and he was like, "You just find your key and then you figure out which notes you're playing." And I was like, "That's yeah,
that's music, man.
Sounds good to me." So, but I finally, when I got that together, so today playing Lauren Daigle's "You Say," it goes from F to A to D to B flat. And all I could think while I was playing it was like, this is, and it might be because the way I was doing it was I was doing the F on the B string, A, and then D, and then back to B flat, so my hand didn't have to move. And I was thinking, like, this is a weird shape. Like, most Lauren Daigle songs seem to have a weird shape of chord. So I was sitting there trying to count it out with the Nashville number system, going like, okay, so if this is my 1, because it's in the key of F, I'm playing a 1, a 3, 4, 5, a 6, and then back to like a 4. So there's a 1, 3, 6, 4. That seems weird. And anyway, it was just a thing because you mentioned numbers. Like, again, I figure if I can make as many connections to the same thing, the thing I make that connection to will be more solid. So it was a thought puzzle because it was the exact same chord progression the whole song. So I didn't have to think about anything else. So I was just trying to think of something to think about. Because I normally seem to play a lot better when I'm not paying attention to what I'm playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is true for a lot of people. I think that's true for me. It's like, because you're on autopilot. I think if you're trying, then there's some degree of uncertainty, and then when you're on autopilot, it's just like everything's moving.
So next one, this one I thought would be funny because I was looking for like common new guitar bass players, and the first one that came up was a few of these, and then farther down the list I found the opposite for guitarists. Someone listed one for a guitarist, and it was, "You have to use a pick, don't use your fingers." And I was like, not for bassists. You usually hear the opposite. You gotta use your fingers, finger style, which I thought was funny. And then that one made me think of the next one on my own, because I knew neither of us were going to have a problem saying use a pick. If you need to use a pick, if you want to use a pick, use a pick. Play the note. Play the notes. The other one, which is oftenly connected to a specific player, "You only need 4 strings."
Who cares?
Jocko only needed 4. Good, I'm not Jocko.
Yeah,
Let me explain multiple things to you about how I am not Jocko Pastorius.
Well, I mean, who cares? Like, I don't know. Should we
like
all uprights too? Like, where does it end? Like,
yeah. How far back? No, you need a wash tub and a broom handle with a single long string that you move the broom.
It's an evolution. Like, it's an evolution, and people have expanded the instrument, and now there's all kind of stuff that, like, it does nothing for me. But
I think Ibanez has like a 7-string or a 9-string bass, and I look at that and I go, why?
Oh, it's half fretless. It's
oh no, I'm talking about the, like, I think Ibanez has a 7-string, not the partially fretless, like a regular. And then I know Harley Benton has a knockoff of it, of a 7-string. And I look at it and I'm a 5. All of mine are 5, except for that Minion. And the only reason I still have that is, one, I was going to give it away, But when Pastor Groove won the giveaway, he wanted the Ray 2, which is probably the 4-string you were thinking about. So he got that, and I have the Minion sitting in there. It'll probably get as a giveaway at some point, but I have it so my kid has a 28.5-inch scale in case he wants to learn, because it's
Yeah.
tiny. It's easy to learn. Also, it's just a nice, solid travel bass, and it sounds great. Like those in-house Jackson PJ pickup, that sounds good. I should grab it sometime and play it on here because
I had
it'll
one,
sound. But
one of the early ones, and yeah,
I
that was fine.
I just I look at a 7-string and I make the joke like, oh, that's a 6-string, it's above my pay grade. But like, I look at a 7-string and all I can think is like, do you not have a guitar player? You have to play. Do you not have a keyboard player?
See,
You're playing everybody's part at this point. Like,
yeah, I
what
mean,
if that 7-string? Unless you're playing like the heaviest of metal, and you need a freaking a D -1, which is not a note that anyone's going to hear. That's because what's the lowest on an actual keyboard? Let's see. Da, 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 da. C, B flat. So A0 is the lowest on a keyboard. So if you need to play something lower than that, okay, I guess. Get you a 7-string and everyone's definitely going to hear that note. But they'll
whatever.
feel it. I don't know if they'll hear it. I don't know I don't know how low of notes humans can hear, but the low frequencies are what go earliest. So that super
Yeah,
high.
I prefer fours.
And
You know,
I wanted to be the you only need 4 guy, but nobody had multi-scale 4s that looked good to me. That was the biggest thing that cinched me to 5s was I couldn't find a bunch of multi-scale 4s. I really like multi-scale. I find it a lot more comfortable to play.
I
But
mean, yeah, I mean, you know, if I'm being honest, it probably makes more sense for me to play a 5-string all the time. But I don't know, I like, and I'll go through phases where I do play 5-string. But then I
yeah,
don't
the
know.
six.
I kind of like the restriction. 6. I mean, I have one. I like it for writing more
Mm,
than anything. Um, but
extra
no,
set of
live,
characters.
I've never played a show with it, and I probably never will, honestly.
I don't remember the guy's name. He worked with, I think it was videos with Sadowski talking about Tonewood, and he had 3 of the same bass made with different fretboard material. Like one was snakewood, I think one was ebony, and I think the other was rosewood or something. And he plays a 6-string fretless, and just my mind left. Fretless, not doing it. 6-string fretless, just gone. The first fretless I had was a 6-string fretless, but that was because I found it as B stock on Harley Benton's website for $89.
See, I
So I
like
was
having
like,
a wireless. I don't. I do play it live sometimes. No, I do like fretless. I have a Lakeland fretless 5-string that I love. Um,
see, my problem is I can tell if I'm not on key. Like if I hit a sour note, I can tell, but the quality of my hearing is very not acute. Like the hearing impairment type that I have isn't because I have hearing loss, it's because most of my eardrums are scar tissue. So like if I'm slightly off, I can't tell. So if I try a fretless, I might think I sound okay and I might be 50 cents off on every note in a different direction and just not in that I'm in the ballpark, but I'm not out on the field. I might be up in the stands somewhere every other note, but it'd be all right. So the next one, that
I'm gonna
X
have
is
to jump
more
off here pretty soon, but
okay. I only have 2 more. They're
sweet.
pretty easy. X is more important than Y for your tone. And what I mean by that is the stuff like, oh, if you're wanting to sound like this, if you want to sound like whatever, if you want to sound like Tool, if you want to sound like, oh, I just lost his name, the bassist. Starts with his last name starts with a C.
Chancellor.
Yeah, Justin Chancellor. Then you have to have this. You have to have either this bass or you have to have this type of pickup. I mean, granted, he plays GK, so having a GK is or something that sounds like a GK, like an amp sim or whatever, it's going to go a long way because that's of course
Yeah.
the sound. But I've always loved hearing that, and I think we've talked about that. Yeah, hearing loss sucks too. I have a lot of hair loss too. Um, but the big thing that we've talked about plenty of times is the like, oh well, you gotta have if it's not I mean, and you go all the way from tone wood to speaker types to preamps and everything else. I mean, I
Oh,
always find it silly with the oh well, if you want to sound again like Justin Chancellor, you have to get the 1992 edition of the maple fretboard this that he played on that. No, you don't. No, you don't.
well, no.
Like Nate Navarro's been putting out like 3-minute videos lately of like the last one he did was Geezer Butler's sound off of a certain album, and he'll be like, so I'm gonna take my Gensler 800 head that I have, it's gonna run through this cab, I'm gonna put this EQ pedal in front of it, and I'm gonna put the knobs at this, and then it sounds just like it, and it's not him being like, here's what he had, and you have to go buy this vintage gear to sound like.
Yeah, it's all. I don't know. All this stuff is kind of the same thing. Like, there's just so many different ways to accomplish these goals that we're bringing up, like to sound like so and so. You know, yeah, there's 1,000 different options. That's just how so and so ended up sounding like so and so.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think you can pretty much. There's different way. There's all like I don't like
There's
people
more than
that
one way
are
to
so
skin a cat.
confident. Yeah, like that are so like absolute in things. Like I think that's like kind of a sign of stupidity. But
I mean, like you have the people who, oh, you have to have this kind of bass to play this kind of music. Like,
no,
no, you don't. I could walk in with a dingwall and play gospel music. It's not like the dingwall can't only play heavy metal, and you can have a P bass and you can go and play heavy metal with it. Like,
that's
however
what I was
you.
Steve Harris and James Jamerson used very similar setups. I mean, and couldn't be more different in terms of the type of music
And that was like the last one was that you have to have these like A, B, and C on your bass. Like, oh, well, if you want a bass that's good, it has to have, I mean, take your pick. Oh, the only good bass is one with this brand of pickup, or the only good bass has this kind of preamp in it, or, oh, you need, God forbid, you have 70s spacing jazz pickups instead of 60s spacings.
I like
or
the 70s better.
well, and that's the thing though. Like you'll have the people who, well, that's the only one that's good, or oh, you can't use a PJ because the P doesn't sound like a true P, and the jazz pickup never sounds like a jazz. I've heard those arguments too. It's like, what are you? It's like,
cares?
what are you? Do
Who
what?
cares? Like, who gives a shit? Like, who cares?
Yeah. That's like I've said it so many times, and I'll say it a bunch more times. I've had people who've come up to me since I play an instrument and it's at church, and they'll come up, oh, so and so is thinking of starting playing bass or playing guitar. What kind do they need? The one that they think looks cool and the one they're gonna play. Like that's well, I mean, yes and no. They'll get plenty of practice learning how to tune it, and they'll greatly appreciate an instrument that stays in tune once they get a better one. But like, if your kid is looking wants to play guitar, and they're looking at guitar, and you come to me and go, well, what kind of instrument? What kind should I buy? I literally had a guy where I used to work who said his son wanted to learn to play guitar, and his son had picked out 2 different guitars. And one of them, the guy had never heard of the brand. The son found it on eBay. It was like $200. And then the other one that the son had found was a Mexican-made Fender Strat. And he's like, and I've heard of Fender, so I'm thinking I should get that one. And I was like, how much is the one on eBay? It's $200. It's like, okay, how much is the one that he found? Oh, it's $1,200. Save yourself $1,000. And then I ended up saying Harley Benton just because it decent quality and a good price and all that. But I also threw a few other things
I mean,
out too
$1,200 for
to
a
start.
first guitar is insane.
And that's what I had said. I was like, save yourself $1,000. If he likes the one on eBay, get it. Because if he drops this as a hobby in 6 months, you're going to be kicking yourself when you can only get $600 back out of that $1,200 guitar that you bought. So I was like, you spend $200. If he really likes it, let him earn the $1,200 one, and he might not even need it. Like, that's all there is to it. Like, a good instrument's going to be good.
If the finances aren't a thing, because it sounds like they're not, if he's going to drop $1,200 on the first guitar, just be like, use it as a motivator to build his knowledge base. Be like, yeah, well, when you cross a certain milestone in your playing, we'll get you a better instrument or whatever.
Yeah, stick with it for 6 months or a year, and then we'll talk about getting you this better instrument. But I want to hear practicing. I want to hear progress. But no. The instrument you need is the one that you're going to play. Because if you don't play it, you won't get better.
There are no absolutes, and there's no formula. You got to figure. Part of the deal is figuring out what works for you. That's true in the way you learn, the music you play, the gear you use, and all. Like, it's all like this, whatever.
Yeah. Well, Pastor Groove put in a comment. He said, Pastor Groove's comment was, the great thing about playing is there are no rules when it comes to what kind of bass you play. Like, people can tell you all the rules they want, but it's your bass.
Yeah.
If you want to play a P bass with flats on it, then play a P with flats. Who cares?
That's pretty much what I do. So,
see, there you go.
That's what I want.
But I know you said you had to get going, so this is Chris. He just dropped a new video a couple years ago. Make sure you go check it out.
When everybody has seen it, I'll drop another one.
There you go. Once he beats Psy's record off Gangnam Style for views, he will drop another video. And
it'll be just as boring. And
there you. I'll help, because the two of us can't get worse. So that's Chris. He is my wonderful partner in the crime of boring people on the internet once a week.
Repeat offender.
Yep, there we go. And as always, I've been the okayest bassist. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. And I hope you have a day as wonderful as you are.